The scripture reading today comes from Luke 19, 29 through the first part of 42. When he had come near Bethpage in Bethany at the place called the Mount of Olives, he sent two of the disciples, saying, "Go into the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you untying it?' just say this, 'The Lord needs it.'" So those who were sent departed and found it as he had told them. As they were untying the colt, its owners asked them, "Why are you untying the colt?" They said, "The Lord needs it." Then they brought it to Jesus, and after throwing their cloaks on the colt, they set Jesus on it. As he rode along, people kept spreading their cloaks on the road as he was now approaching the path down from the Mount of Olives. The whole multitude of the disciples began to praise God, joyfully, with a loud voice, for all the deeds of power that they had seen, saying, let's say this together. Blessed
is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven.
Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven. Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, order your disciples to stop." He answered, "I tell you, if these were silent, the stones would shout out." As he came near and saw the city, he wept over it, saying, "If you, even you, had only recognized on this day the things that make for peace."
All the same, if we fit in with polite society and match every letter of definable normalcy, if we go with the flow of what what flows around us and always match the beat of the marching masses? Will we ever have the strength to follow footprints that are a little more radical, a little less concerned with following the crowd, a little more concerned with having the crowd follow him? If we mold ourselves to be inconspicuous, to be camouflaged behind the gifted glow of others, if we only let our colors shine in similar company and never to a full brightness of our gift giver's glory, will we ever paint a rainbow in the dark skies of the lost who need so desperately to behold the promise of a love who creates peace amid the storms? Will our hue remind of love's presence when peace is forgotten in the blur of rainy gray? If variety is the spice of life, and lukewarm is distasteful blandness to our God spits out, if we never play our inspired melodies and find our harmonious differences that sing God's praises, will we ever be fit to be savored? Will we be refreshing and vibrantly distinct as only we could be? Will we ever be the chord in the song of God's heart that our very vibrations of eccentricity bring dancingly alive to holy ears? If Christ chose 12 who were outcasts and misfits, if he sat with the marginalized that others had deemed unworthy, if God revels in the beauty of those he created to not quite fit in and counts as friends those willing to color outside the lines for him, will we dare to be brave and proclaim ourselves non-conformingly, exactly as we are and exactly as he names us, disciple, saint, beloved, God's child, redeemed, and friend? Or would we rather be all the same?
There's not much to the story. Jesus says, we're going to Jerusalem. Friends say, don't. Jesus says, got it. Friends say, whatever. And there they go, down the hill and over the river and through the gate and into the city. Friends walking, Jesus riding, children singing, pilgrims cheering, authorities fretting. This is not new stuff here, but it is good stuff. It is captivating stuff, energizing and engaging stuff. It's a story of Jesus, the country boy, riding into the big city as if to say, here I am. Make of me what you will. Do with me what you will. There's no longer any point of keeping my ministry just tucked away in the Galilee. Well, it looked so promising. So promising. Right man, right message, right place, right time. Things could have taken off from there, but it didn't. Given that by Friday, he was dead. 5 days. It wasn't even time enough to make the cover of Newsweek. 5 days. Everything was packaged with so much promise, but it failed to deliver. Or so it seemed. Draw back with me for just a moment, if you will, and to the preceding days where Jesus is in Jericho. Now I remember the last time I was prescribed an antibiotic. The doctor warned that to take every last capsule, even if I found myself feeling better halfway through. which I probably would. He said that it's the only way to prevent a relapse. Well, I obeyed, but I also found myself offended at that very word, relapse. Relapse? Relapse is the very stock of my work. People relapse all the time. We relapse into doubt or poor choices or depression or dysfunctional ways of doing and thinking as we play out these scripts that have been written for us for 2 or 3 or 4 generations. We relapse all the time, which brings me back to temptation. For temptation is definitely one of those things we relapse back into. So last week we talked about Jesus' time in the wilderness, and it was like this. It was like, Jesus, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Turn stone into bread. Throw yourself off this building, proving that God will not let you be broken. Swear your allegiance to me, and by so doing, control the destiny of the nations. Tempting. Who makes these offers? Well, the adversary makes these offers. But is it the adversary without, or the adversary within? Within. Right? So after 40 days, Jesus left the wilderness, and the tempter left Jesus. Did the tempter leave for good? Yeah, I don't think so. In the letter to the Hebrews, the writer says that Jesus is elevated to the great high priest. But in the very next breath, the writer challenges those who claim that Jesus is not like ordinary people. They say that Jesus was tempted in all the ways that we are tempted. In all ways, Jesus was tempted on the same front that we are tempted. Palm Sunday follows what I would like to call the fourth great temptation of Jesus. In the company of his disciples, his band of misfits, Jesus has just spent several days in Jericho. A delightful place, really. One of the oldest cities in the world. Its history goes back 11,000 years. It is a spring-fed oasis located on the west bank of the Jordan River, just before the spot where the river empties into the Dead Sea. The climate is warm and dry, and it supports the growth of citrus fruits. Today it is a lovely town where mostly Arabs live. It is also a scene of a dark wood moment. A dark wood choice and a divided path. As Jesus and his disciples are leaving Jericho, they approach a decision on which way to go. One road goes north to Galilee, and the other road goes south and west to Jerusalem. I don't know how you identify temptation, but I know that a divided path is the goodest place to find temptation as any. A fork in the road. Which way do I go? So, if you will, consider with me Jesus' alternatives. He may have had thoughts like these. Shall I go north to Galilee? There are definitely good reasons to go. I love it there, and they love me there. My disciples would prefer I return. They told me so. My mother would prefer I go. She told me so. My father is dead. The family business might be suffering. There are people who depend on me in Galilee. If I go north, I'm pretty much assured that I will lead a full life and die in my bed. And I could use the additional time. There is this strange power that seems to emanate from me, the potential of which I am just now coming to understand. And whatever that power might be, there are people who seem to want it. Isn't that reason enough to return to Galilee? Or maybe he thought this. I could go south and west, to Jerusalem and to almost certain glory. My people need a leader. They cry out. Some of them just cry. Perhaps this thing is bigger than me. Perhaps this is the voice of history drafting me. If drafted, shall I run? If elected, shall I serve? The voice of the people and the voice of God, how do I tell them apart? Are they one? They have been before. Besides, who will step forward if not me? My nation. My nation does not lack for people who are primed to draw a sword against Rome. I understand what they feel because that same hot blood of nationalism flows through my veins. But others possess less patience and discernment than myself. I should know. I have 2 of my 12 that are called the Sons of Thunder. And Judas, who is connected to a group of insurrectionists called the Dagger Society. And if in the process a little glory should come my way, should that be bad? If it comes by accident and not by quest, could that be wrong? To which the adversary said, right on! Don't worry about it. Give them what they want. Be the Messiah they want. Feed them, dazzle them, and lead them. Sure, things could get a little bloody at the start, but you'll be able to work things around to your way of thinking once the victory is won. Whereupon Jesus may have said, you know, I can get into that. I can really get into that. Part of me would like to, but something just doesn't fit right. To which the adversary may have said, that's too bad. I could have made you a star. I could have made you great. They would have loved you in Jerusalem, but now all bets are off. It wouldn't surprise me if they turned on you in less than a week. Now that conversation, whether it occurred or not, hints to this third alternative that Jesus may have thought. You know, I could go south and west to Jerusalem, all the while being who I am and refusing to be who I'm not. I can go to Jerusalem letting the chips fall where they may, even if at the end of the day, I am one of those chips. Those are the choices. I can go to Galilee and die in my bed. I can go to Jerusalem and die in a palace. I can go to Jerusalem and die on a hill. It's so simple to see things in the rearview mirror. But it's really difficult to see things when they're right in front of us. It's hard to see them when we're standing at this intersection of a dark wood decision in our lives. The divided path is always where the decisions are the most agonizing. The divided path is where we are forced to do the proing and the counting on the one hand and on the other hand, which is always the stuff of life. The divided path is always where the tempter is because we are forced to separate the bad from the good, or the good from the better, or the better from the best. And there are always people there who will want to help us rationalize any choice that we make, whatever it may be. So I suppose that whatever else Palm Sunday is, it is about Jesus being the best possible Jesus he can be. It is about Jesus fulfilling his passion, which meant for him going south and west on that road that led to Jerusalem. You don't have to understand it, but you should admire it. Were you to tag along with him, it would be nice, both for his sake and yours. This is the gift of companionship. gift of Misfits. As we enter into Darkwood moments alone and stay there alone, the odds are stacked against us that we will be back at the adversary's table drinking and worshiping at the altar of the mediocre, of the status quo, the safe, the predictable. And the Spirit knows this. That's why the Spirit gives us this Darkwood gift, and maybe the most important of all, a community of misfits. Now you may react to that word, misfit. However, misfits are those who are being intentional. Intentional as you are about embracing this gift of the Darkwood and finding their true place in the world. Those who are swimming against the current. For that is part of what we're called to do, isn't it? To swim against what the world would have us do. You might call them mentors, spiritual friends, or a community of faith. Misfits. Misfits, like you. Is why in every divided path in the wood, I find myself falling in step with Jesus. Because you journey with me. And I've asked you to come along with me. And I try to journey with you. And you've asked me to come along with you. And so we can band together as these misfits, these wonderful sojourners in life. We could take these steps together. Sometimes we may not be certain of our motives or our destination as we set out. But we should come to trust in His leading. And if I find that one thing I cannot live without is Jesus' company, and the company of a band of misfits that I have surrounded myself with, that I look up to go with me through those dark wood moments of life. And so let us band together as companions, as a community of faith, and go this long road this week together. Amen. Now each week during Lent we have taken time to reflect